Hi everybody, this is the comic book guy, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion. Your host and welcome back to the comic book, and hopefully you like this video. And hit that subscribe button. So in this video we're going to talk about Mark Waid. Mark Waid, the crazy writer that caused all the trouble. Because it's caused a lot of trouble in the comic book industry. And it's not so much his political views, just his attitudes. Attitude sucks. His attitudes are just very strange. So I always say his name twice because, he might go, he's the type that has these rages. I think he starts repeating himself, like that character in Goodfellas. But I have a question. I have a question right away. Why is it we keep seeing Superman getting arrested? He can do all this stuff. He can, he can fly into the center of the sun. He can fly into the sun, save the earth, kiss Lois Lane, does all this stuff. Always gets himself arrested. What the hell is up with that? Got arrested in the last movie. Well, the last two movies. Always, And then he's getting arrested again in Superman. I understand the reviews are very mixed. But one thing we do know, Superman gets the crap beat out of him for 2 hours straight. By everybody. Pretty much. And Lois Lane saves his ass. That's great. That's why I would go to see Superman. To see Superman get saved by Lois Lane. Headline, Mark Waid attacks actor Dean Cain and conservatives over James Gunn Superman movie, calling critics attention-starved cohorts. Now, of course, this is from Phantom Pulse. They do a great job, and I want to promote them as much as I can. I know the guy, the editor, so he does a good job with all this comic stuff. And of course, that John Del Rosa's got a big channel. I was there in the beginning. Support him to this day. Mark Waid is known for his tone-deaf takes and attacking anyone who doesn't agree with him politically as much as he is for his work in comics at this juncture. Now he's targeted Dean Cain in defense of James Gunn's Superman. Though Mark Waid may have once been one of the most revered names in comics with Kingdom Come, The Flash, and Fantastic Four under his belt, did a good Fantastic Four, I'll say that. For his writing credentials, in recent years he's been about stirring up controversy and attacking anyone that perceives as right-wing more than doing classic work on beloved characters. It started in 2017 when Mark Waid came after comic book reviewer Diversity in Comics, demanding that Richard C. Meyer, also known as Weirdo Richardo, be brought to him at Baltimore Comic-Con. This escalated into a lawsuit after Waid allegedly called publisher Antarctic Press to warn them against publishing Meyer's Jawbreakers comic book. Well, we know all about that. That's well known. That's infamous. And of course, Weirdo Richardo decided to sue him, and then he didn't realize that he made so much money off the controversy because the national media got a hold of it, and he was making all kinds of money. He couldn't really claim any kind of that he ruined the book. Now, apparently they settled. And ever since they settled, between Mark Waid and Weirdo Richardo, Weirdo Richardo has not been the same. I will say this: if there had been a trial, we were gonna have quite the fun here at the Comic Book Hut. Unfortunately, these two assholes had to settle because they were spending too much money. And did you see that Marquez Zaid, the lawyer for Mark Waid, lost his security clearance, so he can't go into the Pentagon and take anything he wants? So glad to see that. Anyway, I digress. Last year, Mark Waid made headlines again, this time attacking fan-favorite writer Mark Millar, after Millar defended a comic shop owner who vented frustration about modern writers turning all of Marvel and DC's iconic characters into self-inserts. With the election in 2024, Mark Waid melted down and said he can no longer write superheroes anymore, but that won't stop him from commenting on the current Superman movie and Dean Cain's take on the topic. Waid posted on Facebook saying, "Please don't listen to former actor Dean Cain and his attention-starved cohorts. Despite what conservative media wants you to believe, the message of the Superman movie is not rah-rah immigrants. It's look at the amazing values, ethics, and morals someone not from here, no matter their native land, can learn from people who are good and kind Americans. How is that not for the most patriotic message imaginable?" He coupled this with an image of Superman getting handcuffed by ICE agents, but Border Patrol who are actually standing up for keeping America's having true justice, something the social justice mob doesn't want to continue, as they want America overrun with foreigners. It's more than that. They want America leveled and destroyed, and not what the founders wanted. What he's referencing are James Gunn's comments himself, stating that Superman is a movie about an immigrant. Dean Cain wasn't trying to get attention, but James Gunn was for the film, showing how Mark Waid twists situations like this to fit his own political machinations. This is what the left always does in situations like this, to try to blast people they politically disagree with, rather than deal with the actual root of the problem. His takes on values, ethics, and morals is bizarre in this situation. Someone moving from one spot to another doesn't change or influence their values, ethics, and morals, and it's been shown that, conversely, they typically maintain said structures from their home country, and then influence the people here by the opposite. Superman was never meant as any kind of allegory for this. His original concept is simply one of the Moses from the Bible, and that's right. Something many modern writers have completely forgotten in their attempts to make something about their current year politics causes. A lot of criticism has been laid at James Gunn for having the film be very on the nose, especially when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which has nothing to do with America again, or any kind of moral values, as Waid tries to shoehorn into the discussion. Seems despite the protests of saying Dean Cain is seeking attention. That's exactly what Mark Waid is doing here. Mark Waid is an attention hog. And he's always been that way. You know. He's a guy, he wanted the attention of Guido Ricciardo. He got that attention. You know. Then he got more attention when Guido Ricciardo decided to sue him. Like I said, I'm very, very disappointed that didn't go to trial. There was a couple of trials I would have been very much willing to cover here, as sort of as a parody. The Guido Ricciardo versus Mark Waid, Ethan Van Sciver, Little Caesar versus Preston Poulter. That, of course, didn't materialize either, unfortunately. Thanks a lot, guys. Would have made a lot of people laugh. Would have been fun. I would have had all kinds of guests here. All kinds of voices here. Not the voices in my head, but I'm talking about different people coming in here as, of course, as witnesses to all this stuff. That would have been awesome. Fortunately, that didn't happen. But if you've been following the channel for all these years and following me for all these years, you know some of the things. You know what would have happened. We could have had Bigfoot here. Out there testifying for Mark Waid. Or for Ethan. That would have been great. That would have been good. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Thanks a lot. Thanks for nothing. Well, thank you for watching this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Comic Book Hut. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you later.